Now I'm to the point where I need to put some designs on my sugar skull face. I really like this mandala design and the flowers that I found in it, so I'm actually going to repeat and use this again in multiple ways. So I duplicated my background image and I moved it to the top. Then I went to Edit, Free Transform, and I'm shrinking it down and trying to decide where to use this on my face in a different place. I could stretch this and skew this and warp it or just use parts of it, but I think I'm going to emulate my reference image and how it had a flower design at the top of the forehead. And I'm going to just use half of this graphic. So first we always have to make sure we're on the right layer. And I'm going to duplicate this once again before I start. I keep grabbing the wrong layer. So I decide to duplicate this graphic a few times before I start erasing and hiding parts of it, because I really do like these tulip shapes and the swirls and designs, and I've decided I'm going to use it in a couple of different places. This is a very detailed design, so I have to make sure I'm on the Move tool and I'm clicked on the actual shape, and then I can move it around. Now I'm a visual person, so I'm simply just moving this around, looking at what I think will look good. I tried it on the cheek, I tried it over the eye, and I decided I want to use part of it on the chin as well. So I'm just going to use those two flowers on the chin, and I'll end up erasing or hiding the rest of the image. So I made myself a third copy of this mandala shape, and I'm really not sure where to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the layer viewing on and grab my Move tool. I have to make sure I'm on the right layer. Make sure it's on, and then grab the Move tool. It gets kind of tricky when you have so many layers to work with. You have to always make sure you're on the right one. There we go, I got a hold of it. So I'm not really sure where I want to put this now. If I want to just put one flower on the cheek, over the nose, over the eyes, I don't know. It's kind of looking like it's too much. And then I decided, hey, I could use this for the flower shapes over the eyes as well if I resize it. So I went to Edit, Free Transform, and I'm making the same flower mandala shape smaller. But now I need to duplicate my layer again so I can have two of them. I want to try to center them and make it look even over my eyes, because a lot of sugar skull designs do have flowers or shapes or something over the eyes. So now I'm renaming my files on my layers palette because it gets difficult to keep track of what layer is what when you start to get so many, so it's good practice to rename them. Then I'm going to group or link them together and apply an effect to them. But before I do that, I need to move my layers around a little bit. I'm going to bring the colored pupils and irises of my eyes up to higher in the layers palette so they are on top of these flower shapes that I just placed over my eyes. So I need to play with the arrangement of my layers a little bit so that as I'm stacking these graphics, they're in the order that they're easy to be seen and they're getting the look that I want. I decided I need to work on the background graphic a little bit and get it off of the skull face. So I clicked on the background graphic and I went to Layer, New Layer Mask, and I revealed the whole design. And this time on the background image, there's a white box next to the graphic. So I'm painting black on top of the areas with the paintbrush that I want to hide. So I'm kind of doing the reverse of what I did before. And as you can see, that background graphic is disappearing from my skull face design. And all I'm doing is hiding and revealing the parts that I want to show up. Now we're back to where we need to be, and we can work on those eye flowers. So these came in as images that we cannot adjust without rasterizing them. So what I am doing is I clicked on the layer and then I right-clicked on the image and I'm scrolling down and I'm clicking rasterize layer. This will allow me to add a layer effect on the graphics. I decided to merge two layers together, the two eye shapes, to make it easier to apply layer styles. So a layer style, you have many options, and I'm trying an outer glow, a color overlay, and I even think I try an outline. The nice thing about layer styles is you have the ability to move this dialog box off to the side and you can see a preview of what it's going to look like on your image. If you don't like what it looks like, you always hit cancel. If you like it, click OK. So with a layer style, it adds those effects and styles on top of the layer as a kind of a bonus thing, and you can come back and change it at any time. See that little FX on the side of my layer? We have the ability to add, change, and manipulate this at any point in our Photoshop file. If I haven't mentioned it lately, it's important to save your file often, especially when you're working on a big project. Photoshop does not autosave and does like to freeze when you have many layers open. So make sure you keep clicking on Command S throughout your creation process for it to save or go to File Save. So what I'm doing now is just playing with those eye shapes a little bit, seeing if I like them or not, and moving around the order of things to see what look I'm really going for. Now that we have the flower shapes over my eyes, we need a little bit more of the almond shape of my eye to show up. So I decided to add a layer mask on this design, and I went to Layer, New Layer Mask, Reveal All. So if we look at my layer on the eye of the layers palette, we can see there's a white box on it, which means I now need to get me a paintbrush with some black paint to paint on top of the shape to get more of it to reveal. So as you can see, if I have too big of a brush, I'll reveal too much too quickly. So this is a little tedious where I try to figure out what size of paintbrush to use. I also look in the options bar and I adjusted the opacity and the flow and the size of my paintbrush a few different times, trying to get to the right amount. Now I'm not being super precise with this. I just wanted to kind of get this kind of airbrush effect, because I'm going to come back at the end of this and add in some dramatic eyeliner and eyebrows. I've jumped forward a little bit now that I have my eyes showing up better. I also decided to add an outline around the skull shape to intensify it. Now what I'm going to do is start working on those graphics on my sugar skull face. What I just did was I went to Layer, Layer Mask, and Reveal All. I decided to erase away the parts that I don't want. So I thought I would add a splash of color. So I went to my Layers Styles palette and I tried a couple of different colors, and I think I'll just use orange. Then what I did was grabbed a paintbrush and black paint, and I'm painting on top of the mask, and I'm hiding away the parts of the design I don't want to have show up. So this will take some time. I'm just going to quickly do this. You can definitely zoom in and be very precise with this project or this part of the process. I need to repeat this step on the graphic that I put on my chin. So for now, I'm going to hide the color overlay and try to decide what color I really want to make it. So I've clicked on the layer with the chin graphic, and I need to add another layer mask. So I'm going to click on Layer, New Adjustment. No, I'm going to click on Layer, Layer Mask, Reveal All. Now there's a white box next to the chin graphic. I need to grab me a paintbrush with black paint, and I'm going to carefully hide or paint black over the designs I don't want to show up over my neck. So I did this rather quickly.